Alright guys, welcome to another video. As this video probably says in the title, this is going to be my full day trading strategy explained, going over everything from bias to the back end info and everything in between. Because this is the way I trade every single day, and I thought I'd make a new little kind of trade overview going into 2026 so you guys can fully understand how I'm kind of going to be trading. So firstly, for a little bit of context and a little bit of transparency with you guys, this has been my results this year, so 2025, from January, as you can see over here, all the way down to November. Okay, I haven't added in December yet because we're not at the end of the month, but as you can see so far, 60 are up. Insane results this year. Passed me 6 figures plus in funding and got me consistent payouts, so can't be complaining. And going into 2026, of course, we're going to keep scaling and keep getting payouts with you guys. And of course, we've got loads of people already smashing with the model, but I want to see you smashing it as well with me and, getting payouts with me. So shout out DC Trades, passed his first ever phase 2 and got funded with the LMS model, passing phase 1s. And I think he got a payout actually, somewhere here. But anyway, DC Trade's smashing out, and I've seen a few other guys, starting to pick up the model really well. So shout out them guys. So getting straight into it, something I just want to cover though, firstly, before we go over bias and session times and the entry and the back end info and all that. I just want to say there are two variants of this model. So we have the full mechanical model, which you probably know, and I do promote more on my socials and in my Discord, which involves for bias just the most recent 4-hour break, as I'll go over in this video. But we also have the hybrid model. Okay, exactly the same model. The only difference is the bias. Again, then the entry is completely the same. So for the hybrid, we encapsulate the daily, 4-hour and 1 hour, and then for the mech, we just look at the most recent 4-hour break. I'm not going to go over the hybrid in this video because it is a little bit lengthy, a little bit more complex, and does involve a tiny bit of your own discretion and kind of market intuition. It does have mechanical guidelines, so it's not fully discretionary, of course, because it is a mechanical model, but it just does have that kind of element of discretion which you kind of need to be aware of. And also, I don't want to misrepresent it in this video because I've seen some people get really caught up with it and say my model doesn't work when they're actually just doing it completely wrong. So I'm not going to go over it in this video. I may make a separate video later on going over it in way more depth, but anyway, I'm just saying we're just going to be covering the full mechanical model in this video. So getting straight into it, bias. What are we looking for? We are just looking at the most recent 4-hour fractal BOS. For example, clear uptrend. What are we looking for? Most recent fractal BOS. Where is that? Right there. Okay. So we are bullish because we're just trying to trade with the trend. Okay, that's the whole idea with bias. Of course, we're trying to just trade with the trend. As you can see, clearly trending upwards. Broke on the 4-hour. So we are bullish. We're then dropping down into the 5-minute, okay, and marking out our session times. And this is where a lot of people get caught up, and I've had a lot of people commenting on my videos and asking me in my Discord and socials about what times you count as, your session time. So London Open, New York Open, Asian Open, and all the session times. So I'm going to cover that really well in this video because I feel like a lot of people get caught up on this. So for London, so for Forex, London Open is 8 till 1 and New York Open is 1 till 8. And then for indices, London Open is 8 till 2:30 and then New York Open is 2:30 till 8. Okay, so the only difference is the New York Open for indices, and what I mean by indices is Nasdaq basically. Okay, Nasdaq and the S&P 500. Okay, so for AUD and EU, so the main two pairs I trade, it would just be, the Forex ones. Maybe take a screenshot of this, because you might need this in the future. So once you've marked out your session times, so midnight, 8 and 1 for New York. By the way, this is UTC. I trade London UTC because I'm in the UK. So once you've marked these out, you want to mark out the lows or highs. And what I mean by the lows and highs is just the highest point we went in this session and the lowest point we went in this session, okay? And then we're waiting for either one to be swept in whatever, bias we are. So for this example, we're bullish, okay? Okay, because the most recent break was bullish. If I can find, we were bullish from this breakdown here. Okay, so we're bullish. We're then going into the 5 minute, marking our session times. Okay, mark them out. We're then waiting for either one lows to be taken in line with bias. Okay, so in this case, we took London lows. We're then waiting for the first bullish candle. Okay, as you can see, that is the first bullish candle. We're then getting the fib tool, going highest point to lowest point of that first bullish candle. As you can see, we do that right there. We're then just waiting for this box to be tapped. Okay, as you can see, price comes down, this bearish candle taps it. So we've now manipulated. So that's the manipulative move. By the way, these are my fib settings because you may be wondering how I get that manipulative box. So we have 0, 0.079, 0.618, 1, 1.025. Okay, maybe go back, pause the video, okay, and get them up. But then, after the manipulative move, we're then waiting for a fractal BOS, okay? So, I know I haven't actually talked about this yet, but before you do any of this, you want to go up to indicators on TradingView, click on that. If it loads, being a bit dodgy, you're then going to want to search fractal and find the one by Rachel T. So this one, okay? Or Wick fractals, whichever one you want, but I use fractals. Okay, and then you should see these significant highs and lows marked on the chart. These just like that, like they say, mark significant highs and lows so you don't get weird choppy breaks and structures that don't actually count, okay? So after the manipulative move, you then want to see the breaker structure on the 5 minute to the nearest fractal. As you can see, we get that right there. Something to note, wicks do not count. So if we go through a wick, I think this is pretty basic stuff, but I just wanted to clarify this. We do not count wicks, so that wouldn't count as a break. It needs to be a body closure, and if we go through a wick with a fractal on top of it, we reset it. So after we got this wick, and then this new fractal wick, we then reset it to that. So after that break, as you can see, we get that right there. We're then getting the fib tool out again, and I'll go over this one more time. So we're then, after that break, we're going lowest point of that move to the highest point of that move. Okay, as you can see, we mark out this level 0.618 where I put my limits. I actually set them just above the 0.618 to account for spread and margin and all that. We then put our stop loss just below the low. So on that little red line, if you copied my fib settings. We're then setting a 1 to 3 as it's a mechanical model, and I go for a fixed 1 to 3 as I trade based off data and fixed variables, and the 1 to 3 is what I've found to give the best results. Okay, I've had also a lot of people asking me, why don't you just go for a 1 to 1? Why don't you just target the nearest liquidity points and maybe these highs or go for 1 to 2 or 1 to 4? But from my data, the 1 to 3 is always giving me the best results over a year. Okay, this is why I trade mechanically, because I am not going off any emotions or what I think or market intuition. I'm doing the same thing every day. I'm trading the same way, and I'm letting my probabilities unfold and letting my edge have the actual edge it has. Okay, so that is basically the model. Okay, that is the entry. Of course, I probably have missed a few little bits and bobs on the entry, so please feel free to drop them in my Discord or in the comments of this video and let me know so I can help you guys. So we've done the bias, okay, the most recent 4-hour break, to the nearest fractal. We've done session times. These are the session times. We've done the entry, okay. we've run through this. The last thing I want to talk about is the back-end info, but before we do that, I do just really quickly want to go over this one more time, like really quickly, okay, just because I know I did just speed run that. So we want to see a session sweep in line with our bias, so because we're bullish, we want to see London lows be taken. As you can see, we get that right there. We'll then wait for the manipulative move, where we go highest point of that session to lowest point after that first bullish candle. Price comes back down, taps that box. We can get rid of that now. We'll then wait for a 5-minute fractal break structure. As you can see, we get that one right there. It doesn't count. We reset it there. We get the break. We're then getting the fib tool going lowest point to highest point. Wait for the retrace. By the way, we do follow price up after that break. So if price kept coming up, we keep following it. We don't just stop on that candle. No, we keep following price. As you can see, price comes back down. We get filled. 1 to 3 are set and forget. Okay, so that is the entry. So the final thing I want to talk about is the back-end info. So the back-end info and kind of the back-end of your model is so important, okay? Because this basically powers your strategy, and it powers any strategy. For example, a swing trade is going to have a completely different risk plan, may trade completely different pairs based on their strategy. So it's really important we have the right back-end info to power this exact model. So the first thing that is really important to understand is with this model, we are trading mechanically. So we're going off fixed variables, we're going off of data rather than emotions. So if you're used to trading ICT and you think I might just put my stop loss, actually I may just put my stop loss on these body lows, then you're not going to be trading mechanically, because the whole point of trading mechanically is doing the same thing every time you trade. Okay, the next thing I want to talk about in the back-end info is risk. For this model, for Forex challenges, so prop firms, and all the evals, we are risking 1.66%, okay, on the eval. Okay, we're risking 1.66. This lets us, because we go from 1 to 3, if we win a trade, we make 5%. And with the Forex firms, with the profit target of 10% for phase 1 and 5% for phase 2, this lets you pass them in a 3, win streak, okay, which is huge. Okay, of course you may blow a few accounts, but if you DCA, this leads me on to DCA. So dollar cost averaging, I've also had people ask me what is DCAing. It stands for dollar cost averaging. So you are buying funding every set amount of time. So maybe you buy an account on eval every 2 weeks. That way it gives us a way higher chance of landing on a winning period. So when we do get that 3-win streak, from a probability standpoint, you're way more likely to pass. So for an example, this is not the right data. This is hybrid odd data. I mean, this will work, to be honest. So for example, if we bought account at the start this month, we would have got the 1, 2, okay, a little pullback and then passed it here. But if we just waited, until midweek, and then if we waited until the next month, boom, we would have landed on a nice win streak and would have passed it instantly. Okay, and that's kind of the rule with DCAing. So that's kind of how DCAing works. You're trying to buy funding at a set day or a set period of time, so you're letting probabilities unfold favorably into a winning streak. So if that's every week, if that's every 2 weeks, if that's every month, if that's every 4 losing trades, it can be any measurable amount of time or trades, so you can just basically trade with probabilities the best you can, as trading mechanically is just trading with probabilities. And then finally, we do have our new, this isn't necessarily like the back-end info, but it kind of is, because it's bad news events. So for this model, we don't trade through CPI, PPI, PMI, NFP, FOMC, JOLTS, so JOLTS, job openings, unemployment claims, any speech, so like Trump or Fed power, and we use Forex Factory. Okay, so if you just go to your search and type Forex Factory, it should show something like this. Let me go over to this little kind of settings bit, and we only choose AUD and USD and EU. Okay, and then we untick this little yellow box, hit apply. And then, for example, let me show an example of this. unemployment claim, so we won't trade through that. And the rule for this is we close 15 minutes before if we're in a trade, and then we can enter a trade 15 minutes afterwards. Okay, so that's just something to note down. And of course, if you need any more help with this, it's all in the VIP. Okay, we offer so much value in here. It's honestly unreal for what you're paying. I don't want to promote this too much because you don't need this really. I do give out everything you need, but as you probably know, trading is so much more than just your model and your backend info. It's the community you surround yourself and the like-minded people you surround yourself with, and the kind of extra support you can get and the extra information and extra education you can get. We literally teach all of this, all the backend info in depth. We go over the exact DCA prop firm approach we use, and that's really passed me so much funding in the last few months. We give out, trading journal templates, all the exclusive rules, a whole model so in depth, summarized down into a PDF. We do weekly Q&A calls. We have alerts for each confluence. So if you're busy, we don't give out signals. It's just alerts. So sessions we would just say in there for the mech and the hybrid. We do daily bias reads. We do any help psychology wise or any support you need. It's all in there. So much value. Again, it's honestly unreal. You literally get coached and mentored one-to-one with me. Anyway, I don't want to go too deep into that because I'm not about plugging courses, because it's not a course. It's honestly just an affordable education you can get, so you can literally learn a high income skill and scale your trading massively. Something I do just want to leave, like a final thought with you guys. This model won't make you profitable overnight. It is, a long-winded game. We've had people come into the Discord, be profitable instantly, get a payout instantly, pass funding. They land on a good period like this. But you could also land on a bad period like this, for example, and just get hit with a pretty shitty month, okay? So it's just all with perspective. So this model won't guarantee instant, profitability, but it will guarantee, and what it can guarantee you guys is if you stick to this for long enough, you will see results. You will start passing funding and getting consistent payouts. And this is what I've started to seriously start kind of locking in with recently. If you need any help with any of this, or you're really struggling with whatever I've said in this video, please don't be hesitant to drop in the comments, join my free Discord, be active in there. I can help you guys because I really want to see you guys winning in 2026. I honestly think this year is going to be a generational life changer for a lot of you guys, and I think there's going to be so much opportunity available. So please take action. This is not a difficult model. You can pick it up in just a few weeks and start trading it. And with my guidance, I know you'll smash it out. So that being said, boys, I'll see you in the next video.